Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about specifically those offensive pass interference calls. I had no problem with. I didn't have a single issue with them.
Okay.
And you can convince me that in slow motion and on replay and the videos you've seen on YouTube that they weren't. And that's fine. The official making that call doesn't have the ability to look at that. And that's something we have to remember. Now, with that being said, on the failed quote-unquote failed third down conversion that Nebraska clearly picked up the first down on, they do have the ability to replay that. And that, to me, was the most egregious thing that happened all day Saturday.
I get really, I guess you could say, triggered when people go on the internet and complain about officiating. Because, for one, officiating is very hard, especially in football, because so many of the calls are so subjective.
Yeah.
Like, it depends on the angle that you saw it from and, how you're interpreting the rules. So much of it is just subjectivity, right? It is a judgment call. And sometimes, via replay, we can say, well, they made the wrong judgment on that one. But you just, you have to give them a pass sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
And, you can say, look, you missed this call. And we move on. Unfortunately, nobody's perfect. There are going to be missed calls. That's a thing that's going to happen. Now, if it's a play that you can review, you should probably do that.
Every single time, by the way.
Right.
And I'll tell you the one thing that I noted, because people are pointing out, okay, well, Ohio State got this call and Nebraska didn't get that call. And they're very similar in a lot of situations. The one thing I noticed about every single time Ohio State, clear as day, held a Nebraska player, whether it be a wide receiver or Jamari Butler, who was just everywhere because they had a 16th string left tackle in the game, I never seen them pander to the official. And every single time it happened to Ohio State, there was a wide receiver with his hands in the air looking around and getting a call. And I know, listen, before you 402-951-1620 and tell me that I'm the guy that for 5 straight years on the station has been complaining about this happening in sports, it helps. And if
it's getting held, throw your arms up
and
in
it's
the
going to be the difference between getting the call and not getting the call, I'm not going to hate you for doing it.
Yeah.
But I went back and watched all of those plays specifically. Not one wide receiver looked to an official and argued their case. And I feel like 30% of the time, and that might be a low number, that's usually why those flags get thrown. I don't know if that's they're just coached not to do that. I don't know if it's just they didn't know if they got held, which is usually more than likely the case. If you're not looking for a flag, you usually don't think something went wrong.
Here's the other thing that gets me about complaining about officiating, right? There are cases when there's a pivotal call that can change the outcome of a game that goes one way or the other.
Yeah.
That can happen. Do not fall into this trap of saying Nebraska lost to Ohio State because of the officials.
Yeah, the officials didn't stop them from scoring.
Nebraska left so many points on the field that had nothing to do with officiating.
Yeah, the Superman dive at the goal line with the wrong running back probably had nothing to do with
missing open receivers.
Twice. Dylan Raiola missed 2 touchdowns with wide open guys.
Right. So Nebraska did not lose that game in any way, shape, or form because of the officiating.
The outcome could have been different, and there was probably a field goal or 2 left out there due to calls or missed calls.
I understand what you're saying, and yes, that's true. But Nebraska had an opportunity to make the plays to win the game and did not do that.
I agree. Yeah. Even despite everything we're talking about right now,
those opportunities were not prevented. They had them and missed them.
I'll play devil's advocate to that statement for one reason, because I know there's somebody out there going, well, what if they would have had a chance to score? Would the officials have screwed them then? Well, we don't know that. So you can't really live in that world. And I want to talk about the Ryan Day thing for a minute, because I, more than anybody, harp on the rules officials, the quote-unquote rules experts that come in on games that just notoriously get things wrong. And I have not seen video footage that Ryan Day bumped an official. I know that is out there in the ether, and a lot of people feel like that happened. I'm not saying it didn't. I, with my own 2 eyes, did not see it happen. I know Matt Rule got flagged for throwing and spiking his headset against Purdue. Ryan Day did not do that. Ryan Day just kind of did the motion of throwing it down, but did not do that. That's not illegal. Yes, he was out on the field, by the way. So was everybody. It was a timeout. The entire coaching staff was out there.
Yeah.
Both teams were on the field. So when you have the quote-unquote rules experts coming in, yes, absolutely, they're going to throw a flag on him if it's in the middle of a play. But
Sure.
if it's timeout and everybody is out on the field for review, that was during the targeting call.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they got wrong. I didn't think that was a targeting, so they screwed that up too. So maybe if they would have reviewed the third down spot, they could have screwed that up as well. But that went in Nebraska's favor, and that's the one that. And again, if you're going to knock them for the missed pass interference calls and things like that, you got to give they were screwing it all up. Like, it was just a badly officiated game all across the board.
Yeah, you can be an Ohio State fan and think that the officiating was bad in that game too,
and you'd have an argument. But to everybody that's like, oh well, they would have thrown that on Matt Rule. Well, no, the Purdue game, Matt Rule actually spiked his headset into the ground, which you cannot do. Ryan Day, by the rule of the definition, did not. I don't even think he should have got a sideline violation.
Yeah,
he was upset by the call. He walked away from unless he actually ran into an official, which again I didn't see, and I know it's out there that it happened, but I have not seen any video evidence that proves that it actually did.
Sure.
And if he did, the right result to that is a sideline violation because he's allowed to get a warning first.
Yep,
because it wasn't during the middle of a play, so I didn't have any problem with that. But with that being said, like, I feel like there needs to be a discussion within the Nebraska camp. Hey, if you're getting held, or hey, you feel it, don't go to the media. Matt Rule declined to comment on the officiating at the media. They don't want to do that. Okay, how do we make sure that we're getting the attention of the officials when we feel like we're getting or not getting the right attention on calls? And I think they've got to. You got to bring an acting coach in, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, though, right? Because you want
you're not going to get flagged for asking for a flag.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you want your players to fight through it, right? You want to like just worry about making the play and not what the officials are doing, right?
And that's a little bit of the problem, right? Like Ohio State's got the experience and they've got it all kind of figured out. So they have the ability to worry about the other things.
Yeah, and Nebraska's not there.
Correct. I agree with that.
So it's tough for me to say like, yeah, put on a show. Like, I can understand if it's like an egregious hold, throw your hands up in the air. Yeah, fine.
I think the one on Barney was pretty egregious. I mean, his entire shoulder pad was pulled back.
Yeah. And the one where Butler got absolutely hog-tied around the neck.
He hugged him. Yeah.
You just have to laugh sometimes because
how do you miss that one? Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll cry until your head falls off. But that game, like, I honestly... It sucks to lose the way Nebraska lost that game, but it was so surprising, the performance that they turned in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 50 points worse than Indiana and 4 points worse than Ohio State. In what world does that make sense?
I will say this. That offensive line is really banged up in Columbus, and I have some serious doubts about that group going forward.
Oh, they're in trouble. They're no doubt in trouble.
And I said this last week. You obviously weren't here, but I said this last week. I didn't think that what we saw against Indiana was indicative. And I didn't think that this coaching staff was remotely worried about Saturday just by the responses. Like, Matt Rule's kind of a hard on his sleeve kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, I think we're fine. And I started thinking a lot about, and I think in our lifetime, post the 90s era, the best defense was the 09 Ndamukong Suh, Jared Crick. 7 starters on an NFL on the NFL.
Like,
defense.
Honestly, it might be the best Nebraska defense.
You can make that argument, but I think undoubtedly past the 90s, the greatest. Right?
Yep.
They went out and they lost by 4 touchdowns to Texas Tech.
Yep.
Like sometimes things just happen on the road, and I thought
sometimes your game plan sucks, and I thought that was just not going to work.
I thought that was more. I didn't think that Kurt Cignetti drew up this amazing game plan. I just think, listen, sometimes teams go on the road. We saw Iowa beat Ohio State by 41 times. Like, things happen in college football. And I thought what we saw on Saturday against Ohio State is more indicative of what Nebraska is. I don't think they're necessarily that level of good, but I certainly don't think they're nearly as bad as they were. I think the defense
is that level of good.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. I think that the Indiana game was an absolute anomaly. I think they had a bad game plan. They were not prepared for all the RPO stuff properly.
Clearly, yeah.
The RPO
not having Mekhi Bear hurt
ate them alive. So they were not ready to defend the offense that Indiana was running. They just weren't. It was a bad game plan. So, and they weren't able to adjust before it was out of hand.
With that being said, they stole some stuff for the offense on Saturday.
Oh, sure. I think Nebraska's defense is as good as it showed against Ohio State. Especially against that style of offense. The 3-3-5 Tony White defense is designed to stop that offense.
It did a pretty good job.
And did a great job of it.
You know whose defense is pretty good too? The Bellevue Bruins women's basketball team. Their head coach, Dave Denley, is going to be joining us next in studio. If you missed our breakdown of the Ohio State game, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours. 1620 was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's fall, and that means you need to get the maintenance done on your HVAC unit so you can be prepared and not freezing this winter. Head over to controlledcomfort.com and set up your maintenance appointment so you can have peace of mind about your furnace this winter. They're also going to make sure the summer months didn't take too much of a toll on your AC unit as well. We're talking BU Bruins women's hoops on the other side of the break here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. All right. You got your great polo in one of the great brands, Johnny O, Mizzen and Main, Peter Millar, from Jerry Ryan late in the summer. Well, we're in fall now. If you're going to keep going to the games, you might need some long sleeve gear, right? They got quarter zips, they got vests, they got whatever you need in all your favorite brands with the great looks and the great logos on them as well. And if you're in the market for some Creighton gear because basketball season's right around the corner, we start exhibition games tomorrow. They've got that for you as well. You need to check them out at 78th and Dodge. And if you're in need of a suit, you got the best fitting experience you can get in the Midwest. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, proud sponsor of this fine radio program, and we push them to you every chance we get because of the great work and the great clothing that they provide to the Omaha area. Great guys, great company, easy to find at 78th and Dodge. You need to get there and get yourself set up and get your closet game right. Tell John and Dan and the crew that the After Hours Lounge sent you. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, dressing Omaha for 51 years.
It's 6:18 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. You can keep up to date on all things Bellevue Athletics by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Speaking of those Bruins, the head women's basketball coach at Bellevue University, Dave Denley, joins us in studio. He's brought Ashton Arnold and Gabby Moore with him tonight. Coach, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
We talked a little bit after the season, a very frustrating February for you guys. What was so difficult about those 6 losses at the end of the season, and what can you take from those losses and make it portable to this season in a good way?
Well, the difficulty is we were basically in every game, and we had chances to win, and we just couldn't get over that hump and get that shot to fall or the ball to bounce our way at the end, and so that was the frustrating part. What we take from it is we have to learn. We have to let that hurt a little bit, and then you got to carry it into this year, and you have to turn that pain into a little fire and a little passion for what you need to do this year. And so far in practice, our kids we don't discuss it. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
But that was a year ago. It was a different team.
Yeah. And now it's about, hey, how do we refine those little things? How do we make sure that we are better at those little things so that we can put ourselves in a situation where if we get in that, we can execute and come out on top. But also let's do the little things prior to that so we don't put ourselves in those situations, because we felt like we had leads in 5 of those 6 games going into the fourth quarter and during the fourth quarter. And you got to push those leads out, and then you can kind of do some different situations at the end where you're not trying to come from behind. You're protecting the lead a little bit more.
Let's do some basketball philosophy stuff. Give the people out there a reason why they might want to come watch you play. How do you like your team to play? What's sort of your system? How do you want the girls to play the game?
Well, I mean, this year we're back to what we really want to do. Our depth last year kept us from pressing and pushing the ball and playing in transition a little bit more than what we want. But we've went out, recruited, got some depth at the guards positions, and we're able to move Gabby off the ball and put her on the off guard position where she's better, where she can concentrate a little more on scoring and looking at that area. But we're going to try and get up in you defensively. We're going to try and push the ball in offense, and we want those games to be in the 70s, 80s, and not the 50s and 60s.
Talk to me about this team, because you get a year older. You obviously have Gabby and Ashton back who are here with us, but Zakai and Kaylee are a year older as well. How important was it for you to get those young players as much experience as possible to make sure this team is a little bit more seasoned this season?
Well, there's no more value than playing time.
Yeah,
I mean, experience is the key, and they had ups and downs, but both of those young ladies, those 2 freshmen that played inside for us, they got a lot better towards the end of the year. Like they were really getting more comfortable in what they were expected to do and what they want. They both put work in over the summer. Zakaya has been an animal in the gym all summer. Kaylee as well, and they're both doing well. I mean, Kai's having a really good practice time right now. Kaylee got injured early in our preseason stuff, and so she had to sit out about 2.5-3 weeks. So that kind of set her back a little bit, but her timing's getting better. But yeah, the experience that they got on the floor, you can't. There's no other way to do it other than that. You can only get so much out of practice. You have to, if you get on the floor, you're gonna get the ups and downs, the highs and lows.
You got Omaha on the schedule this year.
Oh, we do, yeah.
What are some of the benefits of taking a game like that for you?
Oh, we actually have Omaha, we have South Dakota, and we have Emporia State as exhibition games this year. And
sounds 3-0 to me.
I probably won't get any exhibition games after that if we do that. But it's just awesome to take our players into those environments, to play against Division I, Division II teams that are challenging, and to give them a chance to go do that. And for us, it doesn't count against our record. For them, it does. But you just go play. And the Omaha game, I've been trying to get Omaha to play us since I got here. So the fact I'm a little disappointed it won't be in Baxter. We'll play in SAP, or I think it's SAP.
Yeah.
But our men played over there last year against them in Baxter.
Scared them out of playing them this year.
Yeah, they did. It was a close game. So. But yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, and when we go to Vermilion, it's the 11 a.m. tip off. They're going to bring all the little kids in, and it's going to be loud and good. So it's just great experience for our players to go play in those games and to get that experience playing against higher level competition, I guess.
We're catching up with Dave Denley, the head coach of the women's basketball program at Bellevue University. Coach, talk to me about your roster, because when you look up and down it, 2 players you brought tonight from out of the state, you have 7 players from either inside the state or from Council Bluffs. How much of your time recruiting do you spend inside of the Omaha metro area and then nationwide?
Well, we start here. There's no question about that. We start in the Omaha Metro, Lincoln area, and then we even branch out into smaller towns and different things like that. But we want to try and find the best fits and the right people for our program as much as we can locally. We brought in kid Drew Zuha from Papillion, Danny Coyer from Belleville West. Malia Malone is a former player at Burke.
Yep.
And so we were able to go get some kids that were local. But then we also, we have the ability to recruit, kind of nationwide. And so we've had kids from all over, and got a young lady that is coming in from Baltimore, Maryland, played out in California at a D2 school, transferred to us. So it's just one of those things where you have to balance it, but you start local and then you build out. No question.
Clovis, California, famously nowhere near Bellevue, Nebraska. But that's where Ashton Arnold's from, and she joins us now in studio. Ashton, go ahead and step up and grab the microphone. All the way from Clovis, why Bellevue University?
When I came on my visit, a lot of the girls and the team was just super welcoming. I really liked the environment. It felt kind of like home because Omaha, Bellevue is similar to like the Clovis, Fresno area. So
yeah,
it was nice. I came out here and it felt familiar. It felt like something I could come into and be successful working under some of the older players.
You probably would have had to run less laps this year if you just said coaching, but that's
fine. The educational environment at Bellevue. Tell me about what your experience has been from a college perspective. Maybe something, if there's anything that maybe surprised you or was unexpected.
I mean, I knew coming in that the class sizes were going to be pretty small, but my majors weren't as popular since I double majored in criminal justice and psychology.
Nice flex.
And so, yeah. And so the classes were smaller, and I really liked that, being able to know my professor and them being able to know me and work with me, because I have a lot of professors that I'm still in contact with that I don't have classes with, but they're still looking to get me like internships and
Very
job
cool.
opportunities and connections like that.
What's the plan for after Bellevue then?
I'm going to move home, and I'm still working on trying to find kind of like an internship or like
Sure.
a foot in the door type of job for police work.
Are you going to miss the winters at all?
Probably not.
Nope.
Absolutely not. But yeah, I'm trying to start my master's too in May. So that's something I'm going to do too.
Because you hate free time, or?
I don't know. I just feel like you have to have a master's to get somewhere.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Let's talk basketball a little bit. How are you feeling? What's your off season been like? What have you been working on?
I think I've been working on my 3-point shot the most. I feel like that's something that I've struggled with. I had to fix my shot a little bit a few years ago. So that's something I'm still trying to get back to normal in a way. So I've been working on that. I don't shoot the ball as much as Coach Denley would like, but
That's a true statement.
I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
In case the mics didn't pick that up, Coach agreed.
Yeah, I've been working on it, and I just need to push myself a little bit harder in practice to trust my shot.
We talked to Coach a little bit about the failures at the end of the season last year. What about the discussions in this locker room about expectations for this season coming up?
It's all positive. We know we have the pieces we need to succeed in our conference, and it's all just if we stick to the grind, if we follow the plan, do what Coach says and different things like that, and just trust the process, like we'll get to where we need to be, no doubt. Really picking up the younger girls who played a lot last year, and then some of the new ones coming in that are going to be important pieces for us. A lot of things like that going on in the locker room, outside, on the court, extra time in the gym, different things like that going on.
Well, Ashton, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it. We'll go over to Gabby Moore, who joins us in studio. I've been waiting a long time to ask you this question. The backpack celebration through the walkout line.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I use it. I actually used that my senior year in high school, so I just took it.
What does it mean? Is there any?
I'm in my bag. You know.
Okay.
I'm in my bag.
That's what I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. When you're the centerpiece of the offense like you were a year ago, Coach talked about it. You were distributing the ball. You had the ball in your hands a ton. What does it sound like this year as far as a role change? What does that mean for you to be a little more off the ball? What does it mean for you personally?
Honestly, it just opens me up a little bit more. Like you said, I had to, get the offense flowing. Most of the time, the guards are already guarding me.
Yeah.
And in this case, I get to move a little bit more, get myself open, and then my shots are just going to be flow shots at this point. And yeah, I just think it's
more comfortable in that.
Yeah,
role?
more comfortable.
Okay.
It's just I'm in my flow more instead of me having to do the extra stuff to get that shot.
Yeah.
The women's game has more attention on it than it ever has in the past. And due to some legit superstars that have made the jump to the league now. And I wonder, how does that affect you and the way you feel about the game and your game personally?
That's a good question. So I think, I try not to, because the way the game is now, it's all about fanciness and stuff like that. Obviously, I have a little sauce to my game and all, but I try to keep it simple at times. Like the simple way,
Yeah.
the simple play is most of the time the best play. You don't always have to have that, type of sauce.
Yeah, I hear you.
You a
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark fan?
I do like Caitlin. I
Okay.
do like Caitlin. I do like Caitlin.
When we talk about Bellevue University, and we asked Ashton this question, why Bellevue? Why was the right fit for you? You're a little bit closer than
Yes.
Clovis being from Missouri, but why was Bellevue the right fit for you?
Yeah, it wasn't too far away from home, but it
Sure.
also gave me that distance, and
Why don't you
obviously
like
I'm
your parents? No,
no. Love my parents,
kidding.
love my parents. But yeah, it wasn't too far, and I also liked the team. Like when I came on my visit, they made me feel comfortable, and just talking to Coach Dinley and Coach Ice, it just felt like right. And yeah, I love the community, honestly, and that was the reason why.
What gets you most excited about this season coming up?
Just like the pieces that we have and like how we can play now. Like we have more depth. We have all the pieces that we can like go far with. And just that piece.
What's life after Bellevue look like for you?
Obviously I want to stay around the game as much as I can. I'm majoring in cybersecurity, so I do want to get a job in that career.
You don't have 3 other majors?
No, I know. I'm sticking to one. But yeah, I still want to stay around the game and maybe coach or train.
Sure.
Something like that.
Well, Gabby, we appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Good luck this season. Coach, we'll
Thank
go back to you to kind of wrap this thing up. We've mentioned him enough times, a couple times off air, but talk to me about Coach Ice and what does James Benford mean for this program?
He means everything.
He's never not embraced me with a hug and a smile, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
He's one of the most genuine people you're ever going to meet.
I agree with that.
He has been with me from the beginning, and we've put a lot of effort and a lot of work into this program, and it's not like I'm the one that like has to go on the radio, or I'm the one that talks after the game.
Gee, sorry for making you do this.
Yeah, but truthfully, he likes being in the shadow, and he does his best work when he's not the spotlight, and he never draws the spotlight to him. But the relationship he has with the players is so important for an assistant coach, because let's be honest, a player coming in the head coach's office is like a kid going to the principal's office. Yep. And so if they're comfortable going into the assistant coach's office and he's able to decipher through their frustrations and what they're talking about and what they are, he can come to me with the nitty, but not like have to worry about like telling me everything
He's the good
they
cop.
said. Yeah, he's the good cop.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how I feel with how hard Gabby nodded her head to the principal comment.
yeah. But I will say this: as they get older, they do come into my office a little easier,
Sure.
Because they understand when they do come in, it's going to be an actual conversation. It's not going to be like I'm going to listen to them, we're going to talk it through, and all that. But when we're on the floor, you kind of have to have a little, because you got to keep things flowing.
Yep.
And you got to keep things going. And so there's not as much of that. But truthfully, honestly, with this year, we got 6 seniors. They're all experienced. Mimi today, as a matter of fact. Mimi
Get it together, guys.
Yeah. Mimi today in practice, like, we're going through a situation, and she stops and she goes, Coach, we need to go over this. And we haven't done it yet. And she's right. I mean, like sometimes
extension of the coaching staff.
Exactly.
Yep.
And getting Taylor back at point
is
going to be huge, because she is an extension of what we think and what we want to do, and she knows what we want to do. And so but Ice is so valuable in everything he does, and in the connections he knows everyone in the city of Omaha.
No.
It's scary. And
he
so
introduces me to somebody new every time I walk in that gym, by the way.
and he brings people to the gym.
Yep, sure does.
And so that's just I'm very fortunate, honestly, to have Coach Ice as my assistant, and for us to be together for this long. And we are super excited about this team this year, and we feel like that. Honestly,
so excited somebody might blow out their Achilles being happy about it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that happened to him earlier, and it's been a long month without him. Truthfully, I'm sure the players are so glad to see him back, because it's just not me in there.
Coach, we hope you get well soon.
But yeah, he's Bellevue through and through.
Yeah,
no question about that.
And Coach, if I know anything about coaches, it's that the cake is never baked. There's always more ingredients to put in that thing. But 3 days out from the first game of the season, what's left to do for you?
Just keep working on the process.
Yeah.
You gotta, like Ashton said, you gotta trust it, and you gotta do it every day. And if you get caught up thinking about the prize at the end, the prize is never going to be there because you're not going to do the work you have to do to earn it. And so we just got to stay in the moment. You got to go next play. You got to, when we get into games, you can't fix things very often in games. You can make some adjustments, but you're not going to fix everything. So you got to, as a player, you got to just keep playing, and you got to figure out how to fix it on the fly. And so I'm very fortunate to have the experience of these two and others that have played minutes and understand. And we've got some nice new faces that are going to be very, very big integral pieces of what we're going to do.
The Bellevue Bruins win the North Star if what happens?
If we stay healthy and we continue to trust the process, I believe we will win the North Star.
That's Dave Denley, the head coach of the Bellevue Bruins women's basketball program. He brought Ashton Arnold and Gabby Moore with him in studio. If you missed their segment, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by 402 Barbecue. You can stop by 84th and Spring Monday through Saturday from 11 to 6. Try mine and John's personal favorite. It's the Cadillac sandwich. It's brisket. It's pork. It's topped off with the world famous smoked mac and cheese. Make sure you mention Kelly and the team. You heard about them on After Hours. She's going to throw in a free soda of the purchase in the mention of our show. Check out 402 Barbecue tomorrow and grab lunch. We'll be right back. Catch up with the Elkhorn South girls basketball team here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Williams Law. You can head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight and get a free, no-obligation legal consultation. Why would Bob Williams and his team do that? They want to represent you and make sure they're the right person to have in your corner when you have to go to litigation. Again, WilliamsLawLLC.com. If you're facing a DUI charge, maybe you're facing civil litigation, whatever it may be, Bob and his team are willing to help you at WilliamsLawLLC.com. Get that free, no-obligation legal consultation tonight. It's 6:39 on a Tuesday night. Getting to the Elkhorn South Storm just a little bit late here, guys. We appreciate you waiting around the lobby. We're going to catch up with Jake Nannon, Alexa Edie, and Amy Burke here on the After Hours program. We're brought to you by Bellevue University. You can catch up on all things Bellevue Athletics by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Coach, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. We're looking forward to talking some hoops.
You guys almost double your win total in year one. What did this mean? What did this team show you at the end of the season, winning 3 of the last 5, that you can fully turn this thing around and have it be more positive this year?
Absolutely. Steady improvement and work ethic. Throughout the season, these kids immediately believed in what we were trying to do, and we always felt like we had the skill level needed to be successful in the Metro. And although we did take some steps forward, we're nowhere near where we want to be as a program. So we still have a bunch of tenacious girls that are ready to attack the season. And they've been working their tails off in fall workouts, and we're just excited to get things rolling here in a few weeks.
Yeah, so we're still about a month out from the start of the season. I just wonder, like, at this point, like, where are you with the development of the team? What's the focus right now?
Sure. So when it comes to offensive and defensive philosophy and skill development, we're much more in the refinement stage now, as opposed to the install stage, where we can focus more of the micro skills on what we do, as opposed to installing everything.
Yeah.
So we feel like we're in a comfortable position where we can continue to layer additions onto what we do offensively and defensively, while still meeting the players where they're at to help them be successful.
Which of those two portions is more fun for you? Because it's probably different for each coach. Do you enjoy the installation portion? Do you enjoy the development and refinement portion? Which one's more fun for you?
I would say that both installation and refinement have their perks. And I would argue that refinement is much more exciting for me as a coach, because we can really expand the player's growth at a quicker rate. And once we have the foundation set, it's so much fun to add in wrinkles, find our players' strengths, and continue to tailor what we do to their skill set.
What is it about the women's game? Well, why do you think it has gotten so popular, and the rise of popular? We were just talking to the Bellevue women's basketball team about kind of the same thing. Like, I know Caitlin Clark, I know Angel Reese, I know, like, that those things made a huge difference. But it doesn't seem like just 2 players should cause that big of an uproar, right? Like that could be the only catalyst for why people are paying so much more attention to the women's game.
Sure. I would say, like you mentioned, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese play a big factor in that.
Yeah.
They draw eyes, and superstars draw talent. Along with that, I think the girls' game is much more skilled, maybe than it's ever been.
Agreed.
And we, specifically at Elkhorn South, try to tailor our program to the modern game, with the way we play offensively, with what we want to do defensively. And we think that's the way the girls' game is continuing to flow. And we feel like we're ahead of the game with what we're trying to do philosophy-wise. It's more entertaining, it's more fun, and we think it's very free-flowing.
What's more different for you this year going into year 2 than it was a year ago? Is there anything that's changed, or that you're a little more comfortable in your role?
I would say nothing has changed. We
Really?
still emphasize our core values daily. We still emphasize what we do as a program with our standards, and we still try to uphold them to very high expectations. So, in our opinion, we're still in year 1 with our mindset, but obviously our skill level, our defensive and offensive philosophies, our style of play are leaps and bounds improved to where they were last year. But in our mindset, coaches and players, we're hungry. We're still the underdogs. We're still ready to attack, and we still have a lot to prove.
Well, let's talk to one of those hungry seniors right now. Alexa Edie joins us in studio. Alexa, this is your last year in a Storm jersey. What defines success for you this season personally?
Yeah, having success this year for me personally would entail continuing to build the culture that we've established for the Elkhorn South girls basketball program, and really just concentrating on executing our core values as a team. Going into this season, I really want to build strong relationships with my teammates in order to build that team chemistry that translates to the court.
As I mentioned, we're still about a month out from the first game of the season. So what do you feel like you have left to do before we get to that first game?
Yeah, as the season approaches, I'm just going to continue getting in the gym as much as possible and just continuing to attend our fall workouts as a team. And I'm just going to try to do that and continue to maximize the time left we have in our preseason. But I'm definitely ready for the season to get
Yeah.
rolling.
You got one more season after this as well. You ran track all 3 years in high school. You're doing that again this year?
Yes.
Why was it such a big deal for you to be able to be a multi-sport athlete?
Being a multi-sport athlete has been super life-changing for me. Just getting to like the opportunity to build so many relationships with people within my school from all different kinds of sports, and it's just been really fun.
Well, we appreciate you being here tonight. Congratulations on all the success and good luck this season. We'll go over to Amy Burke-Jones is in studio tonight as well. You and Alexa were representatives for this team for the freshman fair. She talked a little bit about getting the younger girls engaged in the program too as well. Why was it such a big deal for you guys to be able to represent this team at that event and be kind of the face of the program?
Yeah, so I think it's honestly a big deal to us. Not only to me, but of course Alexa as well, because we really get to set standards for the program. Especially with a new coach. We get to be role models not only on the court, but in the classroom as well, and encourage growth.
Does she often take candid photos of you?
Yeah, I mean we are best friends off the court
Okay.
too. So
Just letting you know that just happened. Sorry.
All right. So how was your off season? Were there any goals you set for yourself for development this year?
Yeah, so it's been great. It's been filled with a lot of hard work and dedication, not only on the court, but in the weight room, getting stronger, stuff like that. Some goals I have for myself, and along with my team include, of course, making it to state, having a winning record. But most importantly, I definitely want to build on from last year, improve our team chemistry and build trust, on and off the court.
How do you want this 2025 class to be remembered from a basketball standpoint?
Yeah, I definitely want to be remembered as a great teammate, always encouraging, always giving it my all, and just leaving it all out on the court.
All right. So we like to throw some curveballs. Here's a little fun one for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's almost Halloween, and you have to dress up as one of your teammates. Who are you going as, and what does the costume look like?
Okay, so I would probably dress as our point guard, Molly Probasco. She's a sophomore. I'd probably wear like either comfy clothes or maybe just basketball jersey.
Is that her go-to?
She likes to do some celebrations. She does this shrug and she like points out her teammates. So it's so fun.
Well, Amy, thank you so much for being here. We greatly appreciate it. Good luck this season. Good luck for Halloween as well. Hopefully, if you do go that route, it goes well for you. We'll go back over to Coach to wrap this up. We're talking to Jake Nanan, the head coach of the girls basketball program at Elkhorn South, and his Storm players. Coach, what does this team have to do? Amy kind of talked about it already, to get to state this year. Not just get to above 500, to punch that ticket to state and get a chance to win a state championship.
Sure. In my opinion, mindset. If we can continue to take that underdog mentality and assume that all of the opponents on our schedule are going to underestimate us once again, we use that to fuel the fire, and it makes us play harder. It makes us stay more engaged, and it makes us want to succeed at extremely high levels. And to your point, we would be focused more on a week by week, day by day operation. We had mentioned that we're viewing this year as coaches the same way as last year as we continue to build with our mindset. So we're not taking anything for granted. Every day is an opportunity to focus on what we can control. And we believe if we continue to do things the right way, those wins will come. And hopefully it ends up at the state tournament. But we're more focused on a game-by-game approach.
Do you think about throwing your name in the hat for the Nebraska offensive coordinator job that may be opening up?
I would say if it was basketball, absolutely. Football, no. Things would go terribly wrong quickly.
Coach, we appreciate you being here tonight. That was the head coach of the girls basketball program, Jake Nanan, out at Elkhorn South. He brought Alexa Edey and Amy Burke in studio with him tonight. If you missed the Storm segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. Tomorrow's a Wing Wednesday. It's also the start of a new tap takeover at Cunningham's. They've got 2 great locations. They're going to reward you for stopping out and getting dinner and drinks. Check out the Old Mill or the Blackstone District for Cunningham's Pub, the best food menu of any bar in the city of Omaha. And stop by our After Hours Twitter page at After Hours 1620. Tomorrow, retweet the gift of our wings. Went you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to either Cunningham's location. We'll be right back talking about quarterbacks quitting on their teams here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here with Forsman's Finest Decks. Listen, the colder months are starting to come, and maybe you're wondering, how do I enjoy the outdoor rooms of our house a little bit more? Well, you can have a 3 Seasons room added to your house by Forsman's Finest Decks. They're going to give you an outdoor space you can enjoy in those colder months, even maybe host your Halloween party in, and just be the centerpiece of your home. Check out forsmansfinest.com and have your 3 Seasons room built this year. We'll be right back talking about the social media soundbite here on 1620 The Zone. 6:52 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone. Keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics. Thank you very much to the girls basketball program at Elkhorn South and the women's basketball program at Bellevue University for joining us in the first hour. JJ's and Brennan, the boys basketball program from Elkhorn South, will join us at 7:30. Before we get there, we got to get to the pride of Gretna East. The winning Griffins this week, by the way, coming off a crosstown rival win against Gretna High School. Bro, do you got any thoughts? First of all, do you want to steal your microphone back so you can talk in this segment? Do you want to weigh in on Gretna East versus Gretna before we?
I'm technically supposed to be down the middle.
Okay.
Like, I was technically supposed to be on the middle, but
Little fist pump at the end of the game?
Go Griffins.
Okay.
Go Griffins.
It's time for the social media soundbite. What do you got for us tonight? All right, so that's I guess at this point, former Indianapolis Colts quarterback.
He's now second string quarterback.
Yeah, he's being benched for Joe Flacco. I don't know if I hate this response because listen, every other position on the field has the ability to do this. Tap their helmet and come out. Now, maybe you just don't say that out loud.
Yeah.
And just say, I tweaked something. Because he got tackled around his knee, and he could have said, hey, I tweaked my knee a little bit.
That's a lie.
But he didn't run that much. Like,
Yeah.
the play before, he took one step left, pivoted back, and ran 7 yards the opposite direction. Yes, he got tackled, and he got tackled a little bit awkwardly. But he only had 6 rushes in the entire game. He was 2-15 passing in the first half, by the way.
Yeah.
Of the NFL quarterbacks who've thrown more than 125 passes, he has the second worst QBR, only behind Will Levis, by the way.
Yeah, I could have put this in what I was right about today
You could have.
because I've been right about Anthony Richardson. I feel vindicated on Anthony Richardson
How?
now.
The 2 largest rants that I've had in the history of this show, I lost it when San Francisco drafted Trey Lance. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I was deadly afraid the FCC was
I would
going to
love to
come
hear
in here.
that.
Oh, I censored myself enough, but I was not thrilled. And then people called into I could not believe this. On air, I said, this is the biggest reach in the history of the NFL draft.
Wow.
And
It's not the biggest reach.
I don't
but
think it's the biggest.
up
At
there.
5, a guy that never finished above 500 in his career and that can't throw, it's a pretty big reach. I think it's in the discussion for top 3, in my opinion. And I didn't understand it then. I didn't understand now. If I'm being completely honest, Anthony Richardson is better than I thought he would be. And that's not saying much.
Yeah, it's just the guys who don't start a ton of games in college. Show me one who worked out.
There's
Dude,
none.
Trey Lance's highlight film had him underthrowing wide open wide
I know.
receivers.
Like it's just the guys who don't start a ton of games. Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, like you have
Daniel
to,
Jones.
like you don't start a ton of games in college. Like you're not going to make it, man. And Anthony Richardson didn't start a ton of games in
Started
college.
one season.
Yeah, and just because they have the build doesn't mean they're going to be.
But I mean, the one, yes, you're right. But the only reason that I understand it is the draft is all based on potential, right? It's 100% based on potential. And if you put Anthony Richardson in a lab and try to build the prototypical quarterback that you like,
Mobile QB,
it looks like that.
except for the accuracy.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's got to be able to throw the football. And again, 2 of 15 in the
And
first half.
What happened to last? He was fine last year. Like
Yeah,
he
hurt.
looked. I mean, but before he got hurt, before he was
didn't
hurt.
look fine, Brody. He
I
didn't
mean-
look fine.
You're being very
Still.
generous. You're in the huddle with him going forward. Do you really? Does this really bother you if you're a player on the team?
Honestly,
Yeah,
I kind of respect him for
he
just
told the truth.
yeah for being like, look, dude, I was tired. I needed to sit down. But I respect him for his honesty. What I don't respect him for is like, brother, you are a professional football
Yeah.
player. You should be in better shape than that. Like I understand
That was my bigger.
it's a
problem.
hard game and it takes a physical toll on the body.
I don't understand how he was
But
that
my
tired
man,
though. He didn't
you
run that far.
are a professional athlete. This is what you get paid to do. That's like me coming in here and sitting out a segment because I talked too much the last one. No, friends, you don't do that. This is my job. I have to be ready to do the job. This is ridiculous.
That's happened before.
Do you want me to close the door?
No, why? There's
I'm
nobody
just-
else here. We can yell all
Hey,
we want.
Yell as much as we want.
Yeah, I'm not listen, I know Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith killed him today and was like, his teammates are never going to respect him and blah, 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 blah. I feel like they respect him a little bit more for telling the truth. I mean, they'd probably appreciate if he did. I'm surprised that he's being. I don't think he's being benched for Joe Flacco because of this. I think he's being benched for Joe Flacco because when Joe Flacco was in there, it actually looked like a formidable offense.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're probably looking at Jonathan Taylor going, "We can't squander too many more of his years."
he could have just said like, "I had to poop."
I mean, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson didn't come off the field when he had to poop. Hey, if you missed the social media soundbite, want to hear us talk about poop, you can do it at SoundCloud.com/After Hours 1620 was brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If your business needs help with social media marketing, website designer, online advertising, PixelFireMarketing.com is here to help. Their social media experts will ignite your social media presence, entice your ideal client, and engage your brand online today. Check out PixelFireMarketing.com for more details. We buy or sell on the other side of the break on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. I've been telling you for a while now. Listen, if you are stuck in a jam, if you have an emergency plumbing situation, there's no better option than AXPService.com. Nick Betts and his crew are right here and locally owned in the Omaha area, and they can help your home or your business, and they'll leave it cleaner than they find it. Even if you have a big plumbing problem, but you don't have a big budget to spend on it, they have financing available. Head over to AXPService.com and get your plumbing problems fixed today. Top of the second hour here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You don't become the #1 roofer in Omaha for 13 consecutive years by accident. You can head over to pyramidroof.com, get a free estimate for your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. Brody Heidemann
Hello.
is back with us for Buy or Sell. What you got, bro?
First off, we've seen West Virginia replace its defensive coordinator and Georgia Tech replace its special teams coach this week. Buy or sell, we see Nebraska make any coaching changes by the end of the season.
Sell every day of the week. Sell it today, sell it tomorrow, sell it yesterday. Sell it, sell it, sell it. This team is not changing coaches. Matt Rule's not firing anyone. No matter how much you scream and shout and stamp your feet, no one's getting fired. Nebraska's not changing coaches.
If there's anything left from that, sell that as well. It's not happening.
Sell it.
I know you could tweet and angrily talk about Marcus Satterfield calling screen passes all the live long day, like I did on Saturday on Twitter. It's not going to change anything. Matt Rule is not a break glass, push the emergency button type of guy. It's not going to happen. Every coach that's on the coaching staff right now will be here the Saturday after they play Iowa.
The reason those coaches got fired is because their head coaches are on the hot seat. Matt Rule's nowhere near the hot seat.
Nowhere
Not
near?
happening.
Nowhere near.
No, nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
Nowhere
I
near.
won't hear this.
Unless
Hold
he
on.
goes.
Hold on. What if they lose to UCLA on Saturday?
Don't
No,
care.
if they have
Not,
to
it
go-
doesn't
Really?
matter.
They have to miss a bowl game. I think that's the only
It's
way
the
he's on the
snow.
hot seat.
It's the second year.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
If they have a November collapse like they did last year again,
It doesn't
That
matter,
matters.
Brody.
That matters. If they start 5-1 and finish 5-7, he is 100% on the hot seat.
7-year contract.
doesn't matter.
Money's not a real thing in college athletics, man. They just find it under the couch cushions.
Nowhere near.
That seat gets very warm if they lose on Saturday. Brody?
We have got a lot of injuries. Adam Thielen, T. Higgins, Stephon Diggs, Hollywood
Dude,
Brown,
good.
Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin, all on the IR. Buy or sell, there is a major issue with NFL wide receivers.
We talk about the NFL markets getting reset all the time.
Hmm.
There's a lot of names on this list that just got very large paychecks.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be the catalyst to kind of see that flip back in the owner's favor here. I think there's a giant problem. I buy this wholeheartedly.
No, I think I sell this because, look, we see position groups. It seems like there's one every year that just has a rash of injuries. It's all coincidental. It's not anything like that I can point to and say specifically there's a problem with the wide receiver position. It was just wide receiver got spun on the roulette wheel this year.
Okay. I disagree, but all right. Brody?
John, your boys improved to 6-2
Hail!
after an incredible Hail Mary this weekend. Buy or sell, the ending of Commanders Bears is one of the best you've ever seen.
Buy. It was fantastic. I mean, it's a Hail Mary to win the game.
Of course.
Come on, man. It was amazing. It was incredible. And to the Bears secondary,
Oof.
maybe watch the ball instead of taunting the crowd. Probably don't do that again.
It's one of the
that's a bad look.
I buy it's one of the best ever for that reason. You literally had defensive backs chirping at fans, giving them the finger, waving goodbye to them, and then you have that player is the one who ends up touching the ball to tip it up in the air to give the opposing
That's
team
great.
the win. Oh, by the way, Jade Daniels, really good.
He's
at
that
football.
dude.
Really good at football.
That was one of the greatest clips I've seen on Twitter. I didn't even think it was
See
real.
how long he ran around back there to give them time?
And didn't even come close to being touched, by the way.
No.
He was going to be this was going to be the social media soundbite before Anthony Richardson started talking. What else we got?
Kansas City improves to 7-0 and still the only undefeated team in the NFL. Buy or sell, the Chiefs are your favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Well,
right
I
now.
clearly forgot that I put this question in buy or sell. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been having the off-air discussion we just had. I sell. I don't think they're the best team. I think injuries eventually catch up to them. Andy Reid is good enough to get – Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are good enough to win the AFC West. I don't think they're good enough to win the Super Bowl.
They're still the favorite.
Who is
Wow.
For that exact reason? Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They did it last year
Pretty good reason.
with a lesser cast than they have this year. Like,
That's a good point. I just don't think with that many insurmountable odds, and listen, the addition of Kareem Hunt is working out for them, by the way. I don't think that they can just continue to find guys and plug and play. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
but the question
make
is not
sense long term.
the question is not whether you think they're going to win. The question is, are they the favorite?
Well, if I don't think they're going to win, then they're not the favorite.
Who else is, though? Who is the favorite besides the Chiefs? That's the thing to ask. Who else would you put there?
Yeah, who's the favorite if
That's a
it's
good
not
point,
the
because
Chiefs?
I said this last week. Nobody's good in pro football this year.
Would you say the Lions?
The Washington Commanders.
The Lions have had the blowouts. This
Is
year.
it that far out of the realm of
Yeah,
possibility?
their defense is awful.
Yeah, that off. Yeah, defense turns up a little bit more with the calendar flips to February. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Ravens are playing really well. Just everybody's bad. Nobody's good at football this year.
No.
Except the Chiefs.
Are they though? What else we got, Brody?
ESPN released their perfect fit for the top 10 quarterbacks in the draft. They play Shedeur Sanders in Las Vegas. Buy or sell, the Raiders are the best landing spot for Junior Sanders.
I buy because I
Mm.
feel like his personality in that team makes a whole lot of sense.
100%.
And for him, I think fit is going to be a really big deal. So I buy. I think it's a great fit. And that group is going to want him to start day one. That's probably about one of the few places he's going to be able to do that.
I'm going to sell for this reason. The Raiders are notoriously dysfunctional. I think
Did you
Shedeur
see Boulder last year?
yeah. Did you see how it went in Boulder? Poorly,
Yeah.
because it was so dysfunctional. I think Shedeur Sanders
They're
needs
bowl eligible.
a stable franchise with an established culture and a great locker room and good ownership and top to bottom good coach. Like, he needs to come and be encircled into the trust tree
Yeah.
and be brought in.
Well, they're going to have a new coach next year, and that's going to matter too.
I think it could get real bad, real out of hand with the Raiders.
I don't think he's a top 5.
And what
draft
team
pick either.
fits that mold? What team could he go to? Like, honestly, what team
Pittsburgh.
right now?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and Tomlin feels like he would be willing to take that project under his wing too. And they're going to need a quarterback because neither one of the ones they have are good.
I mean, hey,
Yeah, but Russell Wilson's
Russell
the better of
Wilson.
the two.
Not by much. I agree, but not by much. If you want to agree or disagree with us, you can always do it at soundcloud.com/afterhour1620, wherever you may find your podcast at. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's fall. And you know what that means? That means you need to get the maintenance done on your HVAC unit. You need to be prepared so you're not freezing this winter. Head over to controlledcomfort.com. Set up a maintenance appointment so you can have peace of mind about your furnace this winter. Also, check out your AC unit to make sure the spring and the summer didn't take too harsh of a toll on that unit as well. We'll be right back telling you what John Schreiner was right about, what he was wrong about, and what he didn't see coming this weekend in football. Here on 1620 Zone.
Hey there, everybody. John Schreiner here for Bob at Williams Law. You got a legal situation that you're worried about? I mean, those are worrisome things to have hanging around your neck like an albatross. If it's a DUI, if it's a civil situation, whatever it may be, you need to give Bob a call at 402-522-6317. He's going to get you a no-obligation, free legal consultation. You get to sit down with Bob, talk about the charges or the case that you have in front of you, how he would represent you, and walk you through the process every step of the way. If you want good advice, if you want your questions answered, you need to call Bob. If you don't want those things, well, just go wherever you're going to go. But 402-522-6317 is the number. Bob is a great guy, comes in, talks about all the pressing legal matters in the sports world. Very sharp legal mind. And if you need a sharp legal mind, you need to check him out at williamslawllc.com.
7:15 on a Tuesday night on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. If you need your roof, windows, gutters, or siding replaced, they can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate tonight. It is time for what we got right, what we got wrong, what we did not see coming this weekend. I'm going to start us off, and I'm going to start us off with what I got wrong.
Oh, we're going wrongsies first.
I am, and I'm going to put a little caveat in here. Brian Munson joined this show last week,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked me who I thought was going to win the World Series.
Ooh.
And I said I thought the New York Yankees would sweep the LA Dodgers.
Whoops.
I got part of that right, because as it looks right now,
Home run.
the
Oh
Dodgers
my
are leading 2-0
goodness.
in the top of the first.
Just as you were talking about it, too.
Freddie Freeman has now home run in every single World
Jimmy,
Series game.
Why did you say this?
Does this answer your question about what I said
Jimmy.
off air?
Now I agree with you.
Yeah. I think I might hate Freddie Freeman more than any player in Major League Baseball right now. But as far as football goes, I got Syracuse wrong. I thought they would absolutely roll Pittsburgh. I did not see Kyle McCord throwing 5 interceptions and having one of the worst
Dude.
performances in the history of college football.
Yikes.
So I was very wrong about that. What did you get wrong?
I need to apologize again for
Doing a lot of this.
all of the smack that I talked about Utah being a good football team. I'm sorry that I told anyone
The Big
that
12 is very offended.
Utah would run away with the Big 12. I was very wrong about that, and it was proven again this weekend. Utah's offense is
Non-existent.
worse than Nebraska's.
Ooh.
Who are you more surprised by? Utah or Missouri?
Oh, Utah by a lot. Well, like you
I don't
remember
know.
how I was
I don't
talking
know,
about
man.
Utah? Way more surprised by Utah.
Yeah, but Utah is
I didn't
without
think-
Cam
I
Rising.
told you
that
Missouri
matters.
was going to play Nebraska in the
That's true.
CarQuest Bowl or something.
That might be more accurate. But I don't know. I was all in on Missouri. I thought they were a dark horse for the SEC. They're not. by the way.
I never believed Missouri. I was so wrong about Utah.
That gets me in my what I didn't see coming, by the way, because it was Alabama blowing out Missouri 34-0. Alabama rushed for 271 yards and 4 touchdowns. They got Jalen Milroe out on the perimeter. He was almost stagnant in the 2 losses this season. I think that I think Alabama is still a really good football team, and I think that Kalen DeBoer is still learning how to use those pieces correctly, specifically Jalen Milroe. What didn't you see coming?
I honestly did not see Nebraska's performance against Ohio State coming.
Somebody
I was not
Somebody
here.
on this show predicted a 1-score game, by the way.
I was not here to talk about it last week, but in my head, I had Nebraska losing by 17 to 21 points.
They did not.
They did not. I just didn't see. I didn't see how they would be able to keep the game that close, because I honestly didn't know if Nebraska would score more than like 3 points.
So we talked with Kevin Noon from Buckeye Blitz on on Friday, and he broke down the situation with the offensive line, and I went, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's really interesting. I was going to pick Nebraska for what I got right. That's just low hanging fruit because we've already talked about it. I thought Vanderbilt was going to have a chance at upsetting Texas. I
Yeah.
really did. We were slightly rooting for that to happen on Wednesday night when we were talking about it. But it honestly can make the case that they got screwed, and I think that
Yeah,
that team is much better than people thought.
dude. Hey, Virginia Tech lost to Vandy. Not looking so bad.
No,
now.
not at all. Not at all.
What did I get right? Before I left on my little vacation, I told you guys that there was something wrong in Oklahoma.
You
And
ain't wrong.
you kind of laughed about it and said, really? I was right. There's something wrong in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
like
speaking
it
of
is,
hot seats,
it is not working. Like, whatever they're trying to do, I don't know what that is, but it's not good. And look, Oklahoma could be heading into a dark period.
maybe Brent Venables wasn't a head coach for a reason, folks.
I'm like, honestly, we don't worry about Oklahoma around here. I understand that, but as like a respected rival of Nebraska and, some potential future matchups, like I'm worried about what happens to Oklahoma from here.
Mm.
Like they could be on the cusp of heading into Nebraska's last 7 years territory.
Man, I don't know. Just because they have the ability to go out and say, hey, we play in the SEC and we can recruit like that. And
So does Auburn.
yeah, but I don't know. Like, it's
So does Florida.
yeah, but Florida's going to be fine. Like, Are you worried about Florida slipping into Nebraska territory?
No,
No, you're not.
Florida's not been good for a long time.
Yeah, a little bit.
But still, I mean, they're better than Nebraska's been over the last decade. They've made a bowl game 3 of the
So
last 7
every
years.
Power 5 team has made a bowl game since Nebraska did.
Yeah, but when you have the ability, but that's also part of the problem, right? Is like you can go out and recruit and say, yeah, you can come play for an SEC school, but the problem is 7 other days of the or 7 other Saturdays of the week you got to play 7 other Saturdays of the year. Excuse me, you have to play another SEC team, and that can stunt the growth a little bit too.
Look, man, I just feel like things are going badly at Oklahoma right now, and they could be entering into a dark, dark time.
Poll question up at After Hours 1620. Do we worry about Oklahoma around here? You can vote there.
We don't.
We'll be right back. Catch up with the head coach of the boys basketball program at Elkhorn South. JJ's and Brennan brings his team in studio. We come back. If you missed this segment, check it out at soundcloud.com/After Hours 1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. We told you a couple weeks ago, you sold out the entire rack of the Mizzen and Maine and Johnny O Husker polos. They are all back in stock. They've also got all the options from Johnny O, Mizzen and Maine, and our friends at Peter Millar when it comes to Creighton polos as well. So you can be ready for hoops and football season by stopping by 78th and Dodge. Tell Dan and John, the crew, that After Hours sent you over there. We'll be right back talking Storm basketball here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Pepper Jack's Grill. Look, 10 locations in Omaha. There's no excuse for you not to get a delicious Philly from Pepper Jack's. You know that they cook it right on the grill in front of you. You can watch them as they chop it up, and they put the green peppers and they put the jalapenos in there, and they squirt the jalapeno juice on the top, and they put that little seasoning on there. Oh, can't you just smell it right now? The steam rolling off the grill, the little bun shooting down the rail, and then they smack it all together and hand it to you with some of those delicious crispy fries and the spicy ranch. I just got hungry. I might cut out of the next segment and go get myself a Philly from Pepper Jack's, one of their fine locations, 10 of them in the Omaha area. Maybe I'll see you there as you pick up yours from Pepper Jack's. It's Pepper Jack's Grill. Stop by and grab dinner tonight.
7:24 on a Tuesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. You can download the BU Bruins app and keep up to date on all things Bellevue athletics. We continue to our trek around the metro area to talk to all the boys and girls high school basketball teams. And JJ's and Brendan, the head coach of the Elkhorn South Storm, is in studio. He's brought Lincoln Schwartz and Cooper Marachek in with him tonight. Coach, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. We're glad to be back.
A 500 season a year ago, but 7 of the last 8 are all W's. What was so good about this team at the end of the season last year?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the 2 guys that I brought in here are part of that story. But we really just found ourselves. And I know that's kind of I mentioned it last time that we were on here, but a cliche. And we just found out what worked for us and what didn't work for us. And we were trying to do some pretty complicated things, complex things that didn't fit who we were. You know, I have all the best ideas in the world, of course, but it wasn't for us.
A lot of it was coaching. It's fine.
Exactly, yeah. But it didn't work for us. And so we went back to basics. We went back to fundamentals, and we defended, we rebounded really well at the end of the year, and we found a way to get these 2 guys involved a bunch down the stretch.
I got a big picture question here, and it's about the whole athletics organization at Elkhorn South. I mean,
why do you hate Roger Ortmeyer? No, I'm just kidding.
Success really from top to bottom. Like, all the athletic programs are good. Like, they find success. And even in spite of the district splitting and then splitting again, Elkhorn South is always right there, it seems, in every sport in Class A. Can you speak a little bit to the overall operation of athletics and what makes such a successful athletic department?
Sure. And Jimmy joked about it, but I think part of it, or a big part of it, is our athletic administration, right? From Principal Mark Calvoda, AD Roger Ortmeyer, everybody that's involved at the school loves athletics. And so one of the things combined with that is just our message of, we do as much as we can together. We share a lot of athletes. We preach about multi-sport athletes. Link he played football as a freshman, takes the last 2 years off, and then he decides to play football again this year with us, or with Guy Rosenberg. And so we preach the multi-sport athlete thing. And so you have a lot of buy-in from people, not just in one sport. And our teachers do a really great job too of talking about things and announcing things and trying to get people to go to as many games as possible. So there's a lot of excitement around it too. And people want to be a part of that.
Coach, back to your team for a minute. 8 juniors on this team a year ago. How much is it a benefit this year to have all of that senior leadership back this season?
Yeah, we've got a ton of it. And that creates some good issues for us, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like, we have a lot of
only 5 spots out there on the court.
Exactly. Yeah. We have a lot of experience, but we don't necessarily have a ton of varsity playing time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we are in an interesting spot right now where every day is a competition, every day is a battle. And I think that brings out the best in all of our guys. And we talk about that all the time. We talk about the fact that, hey, we're going to have to fight every single day. I don't care if it's our morning workouts. I don't care if it's weights. Coaches are watching, coaches are evaluating. And I think that is, encouraged our guys to take their game, their attitude, their work ethic to another level.
So many basketball players these days are playing ball year round. There is no off season. There's no break. You go from high school to AAU to club ball to training to right back to high school again. How do you keep your kids engaged after they have just absolute year-long grind of playing basketball?
2 of those guys are in this room.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a battle that I don't know if I have the answer to.
Yeah.
Part of it is I think that we got to switch things up. We got to make things fun. We got to make things exciting. But at the end of the day, doing shell drill isn't necessarily fun or exciting. And so really the spring, yeah, exactly. The spring and the summer are really important for us because we want to be around the guys as much as possible, but we don't want it to be, life and death situations in the weight room and in our workouts and stuff like that. We want to compete and we want to get after it and we want to get better, but we also want, we want kids to go on summer vacation. And if they go, I'm the last person in the world that's going to get upset or mad about it. I want them to take some time away from the game. And yeah, there's a couple of times where I have to turn these guys away from the gym. Like, no, I'm going to kick you out early because if I kick you out now, then you want to come back tomorrow.
Not where I wanted this conversation to go, but my podcast studio is inside Going Vertical, and there's a lot of obviously basketball-centric questions that go on in there. It seems like, and not for everybody, and not all kids are the same, but there's such a discussion around AAU, the off season, that's more about me and I and the points and the videotape that you put on film for college recruits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Have you found that conversations with certain kids is more about points and stat sheets versus winning in today's era of basketball?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and a conversation that we have sometimes as a group. And our motto last year was "We over me."
Yeah,
because
wore the shirts in studio,
right? And it's a team game. I don't care if one guy scores every single point. I don't care if we're split evenly across the board. But as long as we win at the end of the day, that's what it's ultimately about. And so that's when it comes back to your team culture, and winning every day, trying to win in the weight room and win, the shooting drill that we do, or win the ball handling or the sprints that we do. Everything that we do is competitive. And if you lose a shooting drill, right, it's going to be maybe something as simple as push-ups, but you're going to know who won and who lost. And so we take that really seriously.
Well, we're going to talk to one of those guys that's going to promise us he's never lost a shooting drill in his life. It's Lincoln Schwartz, who now joins us here on After Hours. We just kind of poo-pooed all over the AAU segment to ask you this question. You guys obviously both put in a ton of work this summer. How much did you improve your game by playing the AAU circuit and working on some stuff in the offseason?
I really improved my game, but I also changed my game a little bit, because over at AAF we got a 6'10" dude and a 6'7" dude who, I'm 6'5", but
6'10's a little bit bigger, yeah.
Yeah, 6'10's a little bit bigger.
Famously more, yeah.
So I had to expand my role, and shooting was where they put me. And I felt like that really helped me over the summer.
You played last season with Aiden Stratus, who led the team in scoring. Really good football player, really good basketball player. What kind of a senior leader was he, and what did you learn that you hope to apply as a senior this year?
And can you beat him in a fight? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But
yeah. Nice.
But he was a really positive leader. If we're ever down, he's not one to pick on what we're doing bad. He's more pick us up. Say I miss a shot, he's gonna be like, "Oh, you got the next one," or something like that. And then things I want to learn from him are well, I still want to be positive, but
sure,
instead of looking at me as a teammate, I want the underclassmen to look at me as more of a brother, where they can reach out to me and stuff.
You obviously have had a ton of basketball experience. You talked about your off-season work. What's next for you? What happens? Have you thought about continuing your basketball career after high school?
Yes. I don't know where, but I would really like to play in some college, even if it's a JUCO or a D3.
Sure.
But I'm looking at a couple.
The dream school would be?
The dream school would be Nebraska.
Okay.
All right. What do you think is a thing that you can do better this year than you did last? How do you do that?
Well, what I worked over the summer with is shooting in. Every single day after football, me and a couple of the Elkhorn South players will go up to Lifetime, we'll shoot, and then we'll go lift. So, also I'm getting a lot bigger.
What's the bench at? I know you know this answer.
260.
There it is. Okay.
All right.
Well, Liga, we appreciate your time, man. Good luck this winter, and we'd love to catch up with you down the road. We'll go over to Cooper Rochek, who joins us in the studio. Speaking of colleges, the offers have kind of started trickling in from Morningside, some of the other local schools. What does the recruiting process look like for you up until this point?
Well, it's been pretty crazy, pretty hectic over the summer. Traveling for AAU, like you mentioned, that's a big thing, and that took up all my summer. I think we had maybe two tournaments that were in town, and we were in Phoenix, Indiana.
You pull that up, microphone up. It goes up a little ways. There you go. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we were traveling all over the place, and then it just, I don't know. It was new coaches were reaching out pretty much every weekend. It felt like, and
has it been fun?
Yeah,
got a little bit of a smile on your face while you're talking.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. So it's been awesome, and I'm gonna play the sport I love, and I'm gonna be able to play it at the next level. So I don't know where yet, but I'm hoping to play.
The dream school would be?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. I give you a little bit of leeway.
You led the team in rebounding a season ago. So tell us, what does it take to be a great rebounder?
Honestly, I feel like you just got to go see the ball. You just got to go get it. That's kind of what I made myself do. I feel like at the beginning of the year, I wasn't great at rebounding. And I even had a little talk with my head coach, Mr. Zimbrandon, about how I had to be more impactful on the defensive glass and the offensive glass. And so I honestly just had to trick myself into forcing myself to just go run after it and try to get the ball no matter what, even if it looks like somebody else is getting it. Just go and try and take it and secure that ball so we can live to see either another play or take it down the court and get into transition.
So it takes optimism to be a good rebounder.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's your last year in a Storm jersey. What do you want the legacy of the 2025 class to be from a basketball standpoint at Elk South?
Legacy. Well, we want to win. We want to win a lot this year, and we want to be like known for how much we won. So we want to be known for winning, which is kind of like our main goal here. But then we kind of like want it to leave a legacy, not just like as like one good year, but as like a culture. It's like when me and Lincoln were sophomores, that's when Mr. Zimbrandon came in and he kind of changed the program a little bit, and we didn't know what it looked like. And me and Lincoln, we were leaders since we were young, because Lincoln's done a great job of just leading by example and leading, like, not necessarily have to be vocally, but he does the right thing every time, and you can tell he puts in the work outside of it and all that. And I feel like we've kind of done a great job of.
He pay you to say that? What? Did he pay you to say that? No? Okay.
I was about to say that. And then, yeah, we do. We've done a great job of trying to like make the culture kind of be our legacy, and like leave how like we put in a ton of work, and we've gotten younger guys to like realize the importance of being in the gym. And
who are some of those younger guys that you kind of taken under your wing that you're excited to play with this year?
There's a lot of juniors, like Joe Fichter. He's been kind of one of the guys we like to play with. And then we got a sophomore named Charlie Bowler, who he's been phenomenal for how young he is. He's a sophomore, and he's pretty athletic, pretty strong, and he knows what it's like to get work in. And then we even got some freshmen that they're asking to get in the gym pretty much every day, and like they're asking me what to do for, like, we got conditioning coming up here, and they're asking me for drills for conditioning.
Does that feel weird? You said that like it's like a bit of a change for you.
Yeah, it's like usually when you look at conditioning, it's like, oh, here we go again.
Sure.
These dudes are wanting to get on ahead of it and want to crush it, and so that they can be in the best shape they can and come tryouts and make the best team they can. So.
Your coach has got a giant grin on his face after you said that, by the
way. You were listed as an under the radar prospect by Next Pro. What does that mean to you, and how do you become an on the radar prospect?
I mean, I think I'm on the radar, but I mean, they must not think that. So then I just kind of like use that as fuel. Got to motivate myself and use that to try and get to be the best level and get the most, I guess, recognition for being on the radar. But I feel like being known isn't a huge deal, because like if you're good enough, people will find you. They'll get to you. So like,
there's this cool thing called the internet now.
Yeah.
That's Cooper Marache. Cooper, thanks for being here tonight, man. We greatly appreciate it. Coach, we'll go back over to you to wrap this up. We were kind of talking a little bit about the Elkhorn South community, but we didn't talk about your coaching staff. Who are some of your assistants that kind of deserve a little bit of credit for making this thing go as well?
Yeah, we couldn't do what we do without our assistants. Yeah. They're absolutely phenomenal. And that is literally every single one of them. Because I asked them to do some things that maybe other coaching staffs don't ask their assistant coaches to do. And we delegate quite a bit, because I don't think that I would be, not that I'm a sane person right now, but I would be much, much more insane if I didn't have these guys around me. But, you know, Cody Wallison, our head varsity assistant, is a mastermind when it comes to communication and getting kids to buy into the things that we do. Our JV coach, Gunnar Brown, is wonderful in all the things that he does. Kind of he's our nerd numbers guy.
Sure.
And is really good about telling me what not to do. Again, I have all these awesome ideas, and he's kind of one that'll step in and say, here's what we don't do. And then we've got some of our lower level coaches who are the most important guys in our program. Our freshman A coach, Sean Murphy, has been around the game for a really, really long time. And I think he knows more about basketball, or he's forgotten more about basketball than I know about basketball. He's just been around the game a long time. And these guys both played for Coach Murph and does a fantastic job. Steve Bischoff, our B team coach, is just a super optimistic, happy dude that gets people to be themselves and enjoy being around the game. And then we added Aaron English this year, who's our reserve coach, who is a grinder. The dude is always asking me what he can be at and be in the gym with our guys, and does a really, really good job. And then this is the first year under with me at the helm where we've had a varsity assistant. His name's Ben Brown, and Ben played for us a handful of years ago. And so it's great to always have a former player back on staff, and Ben kind of embodies our culture and our work ethic. And so we're excited to kind of turn him loose and let him get after it.
Playing high school basketball in Omaha has become a grind. Like the talent level has gone through the roof, and the attention from colleges has really shown that. I mean, just talk about the evolution of the game in Omaha and how hard it is to win here now.
Yeah, and first let me say it's well-deserved.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that you hear Nebraska basketball, and it's not necessarily, we think football first. And there's a reason for that. There's history for that, but it's always been here. It just hasn't necessarily been, spread or talked about the way that it should be. And I especially think when you look at it, and it's not even Class A, it's not even just the Metro. When you look at top to bottom across the state, we have some really, really good coaches. We have some really skilled athletes and really skilled players that care a lot about it. And these two guys are that way too. But I'm sure they're always texting their coaches to get in the gym. They're always doing that extra work. The grind of summer AAU stuff never stops. And so it's just reps. The more reps you get, the better you're going to be. And that's spread from east to west and north to south.
How does this team get to state this year?
We're going to have to fight. I don't know if you guys looked at our schedule beforehand, and we start off, before kind of the Christmas break with a little bit of a gauntlet. But I promise you, from our coaching staff and from these guys, we've talked about, these guys came up with a little slogan already: against all odds. And we know that people may not look at us and say, hey, that's a state contender, but we know differently. And so we're never going to surrender. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. We're going to fight for all 32 minutes. And that's what people are going to leave the gym saying. They won't want to play us again. If they get us, they won't want to play us again.
Well, Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Thanks for bringing the guys in tonight. Good luck this winter.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's that boys basketball coach at Elkhorn South, JJ's and Brendan Thotty brought Lincoln Schwartz and Cooper Murat. Check in with him. If you missed the Storm segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by AX Plumbing, home or residential. They can do it all. Check out axpservice.com for all your plumbing, water heater, gas piping, and backflow prevention issues. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated, and they'll leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. Check out axpservice.com tonight. We're going to send you out a winner with some money on the other side of the break here on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Cunningham's Pub and Grill. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. Tomorrow is Wing Wednesday. That's right. You can participate in Wing Wednesday with us. You just got to follow us on social media, retweet the GIF of the wings. You'll be entered into a drawing to get $25 to Cunningham's to spend on the wing flavor or any other food of your choice, but can't recommend the wings enough. They are the best in town. I said it. I will stand behind it. The smoked wings at Cunningham's, whether it's the blueberry sriracha, the house-made buffalo, or the 4-alarm, the super spicy ones that are so delicious, not just hot. You got to try them if you haven't. Why not get on that tomorrow? Do Wing Wednesday with us. Get them from Cunningham's Pub and Grill, one of the two fine locations, Blackstone, Old Mill. There's one near you. No excuses. Cunningham's always does it right.
feeling, you should taste it.
Just when I thought you couldn't do any better.
Brody had a no-hitter going, and he blew it on the 27th out.
I had the
He had a
button
no-hitter
on closing time, and we'll let it play for a second because of my mistake. I had it on the button, and it just decided to drift over. And yeah, that's...
He walked the 27th batter.
So close.
Solid C minus.
So
It is
close.
the After Hours Lounge. We're putting a bow on the show. We're brought to you by Pyramid Contractors, roofs, windows, gutters, siding. They can do it all. Head over to pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate tonight. We've seen it all, folks. It is Game 4 of the World Series. The Yankees' lives
gross.
are on the line, and the fan base
gross.
I'm mad.
is aware.
That was gross.
Fly ball goes way out of bounds, outside of the boundaries, goes foul down the first base line. And Mookie Betts makes the catch, and a fan in Yankee Stadium ripped the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove.
Was trying to pull his entire glove off.
No. He was holding it there. He was holding Mookie Betts in place in air to rip the ball out of his hands to get it ruled a drop ball. The umpire made the correct call and called him out because Mookie Betts clearly caught it. But what an effort by that fan.
Well, even if he hadn't caught it, it would have been fan interference.
As his friend who was sitting next to him let the umpires know, Mookie Betts was invading their space.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's a rule.
Yeah. It means more in New York, folks. But it is time for last call. We're going to give you 3 bets this weekend in football. We'll give you 1 spread, 1 over-under, and 1 prop bet this weekend. Liberty will bounce back tomorrow. They're -2 at home against Jacksonville State. Give me Liberty to have a bounce-back game. I think they cover the 2 points. Give me the under in Ohio State and Penn State of 45.5. That offensive line, Ohio State, like we talked about earlier, is in a bad way. I think that defense can contain Penn State's offense. I don't think either one of them have a huge firepower explosion day. So give me the under in that game. And give me Vanderbilt on the money line at halftime against Auburn. They are -1.5 at half.
Okay. Tell me if you understand this line.
Okay.
Illinois +3 against Minnesota.
Doesn't make sense.
I'll take Illinois in 3 points.
Yeah, me
I will
too.
do that.
Yeah. I might even money line them if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Illinois +3. Yep. Thank you.
It's in Minneapolis. Right?
It is.
That's the only reason I could even think they would even entertain that. But I think Illinois convincingly wins that game.
The over/under for UCLA Nebraska is 40.5. I don't think it gets close to that because I don't think UCLA is going to be able to score. This might be like a 21-0 shutout.
I agree with that, actually.
We'll get to our exact score predictions later in the week, but I hammer the under on this game. Under 40.5.
Yeah, neither one of these offenses. The only reason I hesitate is because UCLA's defense is really bad.
But Nebraska's offense ain't good.
But the caveat to that is Nebraska has to have a formidable offense. I think they found something in that Ohio State game. I will be surprised if Nebraska doesn't start throwing the ball downfield on a more consistent basis the rest of the season. But go ahead, sorry.
And my prop bet for this week, Boise State in the first half.
Is that game tonight or is it tomorrow?
It's Friday night, I believe.
Friday, okay.
I got Boise State in the first half to be up by more than 13.5 points against San Diego State.
Yeah, they're not good. Man, the over-under in the Nebraska UCLA game is really interesting.
40.5 points seems like too many.
I just wonder if Nebraska's defense takes their foot off the gas pedal in the second half. And there's a couple sneaks in there that maybe like a 28-14 game. That's still 35, so that's not. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right.
That's 42. That would be an over.
Sorry, I thought you said 45.
It's 40 and a half.
40.5. Okay. Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know. I don't think I would touch that. That's a little scary.
I like the under.
Back to the Ohio State game for a minute. When we talk about the screens, and obviously that was the punchline of the day, because of the 8 plays that were either screen passes or swing passes, it was a net gain of 7 yards for Nebraska. 8 plays, a gain of 7
Are you
yards.
saying that's bad?
That's not good. But, before everybody grabs their shovel and starts piling on Marcus Satterfield's grave, 2 in particular, Matt Rule talked about this yesterday, were checked into by Dylan Raiola. They have talked about getting him ready and treating him like a junior. Is there any part where you maybe pull the reins back a little bit?
No, I don't know. Here's my thought is, yes, 2 of them were checked in. But if you look at where Dylan Raiola throws the ball most of the time. Where does he throw the ball?
Short yardage.
To the sideline.
Yep.
Or deep outside the numbers.
He doesn't do that enough, in my opinion.
Okay, but those are the two places where he most commonly throws the ball, right? If it's a long pass, it's going deep outside the numbers. Very rarely does Raiola throw the ball intermediate over the middle. They just don't do that. And I don't know whether it's him or whether he's being coached not to because they're protecting him or something. Like, I don't know. I can't say that I know what's happening. But Nebraska needs an intermediate passing game between the hashes. They need something to draw those safeties away from the boundary so that they're not just constantly taking away the deep shot down the sideline that Nebraska likes to throw, so that they're forced inside and they're not able to run the alley on the screen pass. Nebraska doesn't set things up properly, in my estimation, to run as many of those sideline routes as they do.
That has been my biggest problem, is there doesn't seem to be any kind of rhythm to the offense this season. We'll go to the phones, 402-951-6020, where we have Bill. Bill, welcome into the show.
Yeah, Marcus Satterfield is trash, but also, it's Dan here. I just wanted to let you know that Ole Miss and Arkansas over 53.5. Indiana, they're obviously going to beat that minus 7.5 point spread. And then over on total points by Oregon, 30.5.
Go back to your date. Thanks for calling in. Thanks, Bill in Omaha. Yeah,
I knew it. That was Bill in Lincoln.
Yeah, Husker fan. My problem with the offense, even before Saturday, was the inconsistency, and it just feels like at times Marcus Satterfield goes, "Oh, let's just try this," and it really is starting to come across that way. Yeah. I don't actually think that's the case, but it looks like it on the field.
I just don't understand. Like, if you're treating your quarterback like a junior and you're giving him control of the offense, why are you not throwing the ball over the middle?
So there is a theory out there that Dylan's dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury. I think he was injured before he rolled it the other day, and that's why he rolled it over compensation.
That doesn't mean he can't throw the ball over the middle of the field for the entire season.
I mean, it depends on when it happened and how much he's dealing with. I mean, if having to plant your front foot to throw the ball downfield is just as important as having to plant your back foot.
I don't know. Something's messed up, and I can't put my finger exactly on what it is right now, except that they don't throw the ball between the hashes ever. Like, they just don't do that.
Yeah, and the run game looked better in the second half on Saturday. You know why? Because they started pushing the ball downfield again, and it started pulling guys away from the line of scrimmage. And for how much Matt Rhule has talked about wanting to run the football and kind of pound teams later in the second half, like, you can't do that if the team's not afraid to put anything less than 10 guys in the box because you refuse to throw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and look, I've been hammering this all season that, like, Nebraska's run blocking isn't good enough, whether it's the offensive line or the wide receivers. Like, perimeter blocking, not good enough. Like, straight ahead, the way they want to block a lot of those run plays between the tackles, they're not good enough. They're not moving bodies. They're not getting to the second level and canceling out linebackers. Like, it's just
that has been the biggest thing.
They're
for me.
not good enough at run blocking.
I don't even know if they're not good enough at getting to the second level. They just don't do it. Like, you very rarely. Like, I listen. I will put $100 on this. Nebraska will never have an offensive lineman downfield this season because they don't even do it on running plays when they're allowed to.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know if they can't get off blocks or if they can't. If it's just not designed that way. Like, that is the most confusing thing about the screen game to me. They don't do what you need to do to block screens anyway.
Here's my last point on wide receiver screens. I tweeted out on Saturday, I hate wide receiver screens. I have always hated wide receiver screens. And there's a very real and very sensible reason why I don't like them. Okay? Wide receivers, you're asking them to catch the ball in the perimeter, and then read blocks.
Yeah. That have to be there, by the way.
That have to be there, right? That is not a traditional skill set for a wide receiver. Wide receivers aren't usually running in open space after they catch the ball. They're not reading blocks. They're not reading the flow of the defense to find out which way they should go, right? That's not a traditional wide receiver skill set. The reason running back screens work is because it's essentially a long handoff. You get the ball on the pass to the running back. He's got blockers in front of him, just like he does when he runs the ball.
And usually have to run.
And then he finds the lane, reads the blocking, sees the flow of the defense. So running back screens totally fine. Love running back screens. Wide receiver screens, I think you're asking a player group to do something that is not traditionally their skill set. And unless it's blocked perfectly,
usually don't work.
They don't really work.
Yeah.
I don't like wide receiver screens for that reason.
Well, and the other thing is your offensive coordinator came off an entire week talking about how much they need to improve on perimeter blocking, and then ran 8 plays where perimeter blocking was pivotal to the success of the
That's
play.
Unconscionable. Like, why are you doing that?
It makes zero sense. You know what? It does make sense. Listening to the After Hours Lounge anytime you want. You can do it at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620, wherever you may find your podcast at. Our bets tonight were brought to you courtesy of Warhorse Casino and Sportsbook off 63rd and Q. Slots, table games, and yes, the Sportsbook is now open. If you or somebody who knows having a gambling problem, call 402-806-7344 and get the help you need tonight. For Brody Heideman, John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. We're wishing Dan Campen a happy birthday today.
Happy birthday, Dano.